by Caprice Coleman. Ducks under. Beautiful side kick there by Caprice Coleman. And Coleman has that attitude, like I've compared him to Muhammad Ali before. He talks this smack so much he thinks nobody can beat him. He says he's the greatest and blah, 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 blah. But he can back it up.
Well, exactly. Since the famous attitude change, it's been nothing but victories for Caprice Coleman. But once again, he can't seem to shake the specter of Lazz. As you brought up a number of weeks ago, yes, Caprice Coleman and Lazz were both applying for Wildside at about the same time. Lazz got the gig, and eventually Coleman did as well. But Coleman felt that the Wildside personnel were putting much too much credence into Lazz, and he thought maybe he was getting short shrift in the attempt. And that's where the chip on his shoulder began to grow.
Suplex and a leg drop by the team of Coleman and Welf. Beautifully executed, only a 2. There got William Welf. It was a sloppy cover, didn't bother to hook the leg, and it may have cost him.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think Ice Coleman thinks particularly highly of William Welf III. Feels like he's got rooked into this match. That tag team wrestling is just not the way Caprice Coleman prefers to operate.
That was a beautiful spinning head scissors. Oh no! And Coleman pulled the top rope down, and Rave flew to the floor with such velocity he may be injured.
He may be. Coleman's opening up now, and Jimmy Rave and Speedy Nelson and Lazz having a sort of a pull apart, or maybe it's a dance. If it's Lazz, it's probably dance.
I think we saw Lazz take a liking to Speedy Nelson in the last couple of weeks, but we're not even going to comment on that.
No, we certainly aren't. Let's stick to the match here. I'm sure there'll be more fisticuffs and perhaps lipicuffs. There's a word.
Tag made to the junior heavyweight champion. Coleman now in. And what do they have planned here? Coleman measuring in a super kick right to the jaw of young Jimmy Rave.
Jimmy Rave, obviously, we're talking about a man in his rookie year. Just the look on his face. He looks like he's all of 17 years old. I think 19 actually is Jimmy Rave's age.
And there you see William Welf choking Jimmy Rave on the second rope, laying him in with a fist.
Despite a few words from Coleman, it seems that the Coleman-Welf team are hitting more successes than not. So perhaps Coleman is beginning to adjust a little to the tag team modus operandi.
Well, you see William Welf working that arm as it barred very heavily. Interestingly enough, about the only thing these two have in common is they're both from North Carolina.
And that's where it ends. And William Welf III going after the arm of Jimmy Rave, that's not a very good idea at all. You want to go after the legs of Jimmy Rave, one would think.
Beautiful sunset flip there by the high-flying youngster. This sensation, Jimmy Rave, he just got clothesline out of his boots.
Talk about sensation. There's no bigger sensation, one would think, in NWA Wildside than one AJ Styles. And tonight, he goes up in a non-title match against the very best the Wildside has to offer, and that would be the Wildside champion, Stone Mountain. That takes place in this very edition of NWA Wildside.
Well, what an edition it's going to be. And, of course, your main event, the Boogaloo Crew and the Cole Brothers for the Wildside Tag Team titles. You don't want to miss that one.
And, of course, we talked about Steve Martin at the very beginning. I'm sorry, Mr. Wildside at the very beginning of this edition said that Boogaloo Crew can no longer use that chair. And if they do, they'll be disqualified, and the titles will change hands.
Well, you know, earlier I compared Ice to Muhammad Ali, and he was doing a little shucking and jiving and jabbing and a little gorilla in Manilan.
Is that allowed here in Habersham County?
You might want to check Penal Code C.
I'm not checking penal anything. That's Lazz's deal. We won't be investigating the penal thing anymore right here. As Ice Coleman now opening up on the legs of Jimmy Rave. Smart move. Take out the legs of Jimmy Rave. He uses legs more than any other part of his body.
That's just what you said earlier. Take the legs out. Very smart analogy there, Steven. And now, oh no, William Welf going to the legs of Jimmy Rave. Lazz is yet to be involved in the matchup.
Well, Lazz is always involved in the matchup. That's just the way Lazz is. It's kind of hard to keep this mass of Britney Spears-esque grease paint sitting still in his corner. He's constantly wanting to get involved, and I think he happens to like Jimmy Rave a good bit. I hear they're just good platonic buddies, though.
Oh, yeah. Irish whip into the far corner. Up goes Rave behind William Welf. He didn't know what hit him. William Welf getting whipped. No reversal. Whips Jimmy Rave. Follows in. Welf misses. And a neck breaker by young Jimmy Rave.
Down goes WW3. And Rave either should cover his man or make a tag and make it now.
Well, Jimmy Rave such a sensation. Tag made Lazz.
Move! Lazz! Big right Speedy Nelson did not see the tag. And Lazz is complaining to Speedy. Speedy, you and Lazz need to get along a little bit better, but maybe not that good. They've been recent weeks.
Maybe they had a fight. William Wolf III hoisting up Jimmy Rave into that 10th Philly driver.
Big DVD on Jimmy Rave. Ice Coleman, big splash off the top rope. Referee Speedy Nelson still talking with Lazz.
And now you see Coleman getting flustered. And Jimmy Rave, this has got to be it. He kicked out. I don't believe it, Steven.
A lot of life left to Jimmy Rave. I think he was waiting his time. I see he saw that referee was not making that count, so took a valuable few free seconds to gain that second win, although I think he's on his third and fourth at this rate.
Well, Jimmy Rave proving his mettle, so to speak, to this Wildside crowd, such a hard crowd to win over, and they've certainly got behind this young phenomenon. Irish whip by Coleman, goes for the spin kick. Rave ducks under, double clothesline. Both men go down.
Both guys down. Unfortunately for Jimmy Rave, he's aiming towards the wrong corner, as is Coleman. I think both competitors should make a tag toot sweet. Rave crawling the wrong way.
Jimmy Rave trying to inch his way to Lazz, but he's going to the corner of the cameraman, and that's not going to do him any good.
I wouldn't tag the cameraman, although I hear he's learning to work Japan style. Big tag! It's a mutual tag, and Lazz is coming out, fists are flying. Down goes Coleman, down goes WW3.
Lazz on fire here in the NCW Arena, NWA Wildside. Look at Lazz go. He is on fire, nailing William Wells, going to the junior weight champion, kick to the midsection. Lazz whips him in. Oh, and William Wells got a crotch full.
And yes. Interestingly, that's a move that Lazz does himself. Now he's doing it by proxy.
Tag made to Jimmy Rave. Jimmy Rave and Lazz showing their first signs as a team. Headbutt leg drop combination, and a beautiful one.
Speaking of signs, there may not be too many more signs of life left in Caprice Coleman at this rate. Oh, hope Coleman didn't want to have any kids.
Lazz now tucks a clothesline. The red makes fair. The red makes fair.
Wow, and he managed to get the pin.